He called Earth a death world. Mika Hargraves didn't understand what that meant until the galaxy looked at her like a loaded weapon. The teleportation pad coughed up a thick cloud of ionized particles, the acrid tang of scorched ozone tinged faintly with burnt toast. Mika Hargraves staggered as the haze cleared, swaying like a seasick mariner, her duffel bag levitating. Yes, and actually floating about 8 inches above the floor. Gravity had yet to fully reassert itself around her, and even as her stomach lurched, ears popped, and the corridor tilted sideways, Mika knew this was no ordinary arrival. "That's new," she muttered, her voice unsteady, reaching for her duffel only to find she was clutching empty air. Her brain scrambled to match sensation with surroundings. First interstellar transport. The voice sounded like someone gargling wind chimes. She blinked away the phantom stars in her vision and found herself face to face, or rather face to eyes, with a tall, transparent being whose 3 vertically aligned eyes blinked in sequence. Its translucent skin revealed blue-tinted fluids pulsing gently beneath the surface like a living lava lamp. The creature, Administrator Plex, as she'd soon learn, wore what resembled a formal administrator's uniform, though the blue glowing personal shield between them made it abundantly clear Plex wasn't just dressed to impress. He was dressed to defend. Yes, Mika answered, cheeks coloring with embarrassment as she finally managed to snag the duffel bag and pull it down. First time off Earth, actually. The words seemed to land like a seismic charge. Plex visibly flinched. He tapped something on a device strapped to his wrist, making the energy shield between them flare brighter, humming ominously. "I am Administrator Plex," he said, carefully taking a deliberate step back. "Welcome to Galactic Preparatory Academy. Your presence here is quite historic." Thanks." Mika tucked a wild strand of curly auburn hair behind her ear, trying to mask her awkwardness. Plex looked at her as if she might explode at any second. It wasn't a great first impression. "I'm Mika. Mika Hargraves, yes," Plex said, his tone stiff, as if confirming the identity of a dormant supervolcano. "The human," he said. "Human, like some people say black hole. Follow me, please." At a distance of at least 6 feet as they walked, Mika tried to focus on her surroundings rather than the growing suspicion that she was a walking biohazard. The gleaming corridors of GPA twisted in impossible angles, as if someone had taken geometry, spun it in a blender, and decided that up and down were merely suggestions. Gravity fluctuated subtly from hallway to hallway, shifting just enough to make her question her footing. Transparent walls revealed classrooms filled with alien life forms in every imaginable and some unimaginable configurations. Some students floated in tanks, others oozed along the floor. A few blinked in and out of visibility, phasing between dimensions she couldn't see. "This is so cool," Mika whispered, forgetting her nausea for a moment. Plex looked back. All 3 eyes blinked again. "Yes, we pride ourselves on accommodating all galactic citizens, even those from challenging environments." Mika's smile faded. "Challenging, huh? Sure, Earth had its share of pollution, politics, and occasional cataclysmic superstorms, but it wasn't a post-apocalyptic wasteland, at least not the part she came from." Plex halted before a shimmering door that rippled like water. "Your dormitory assignment. The housing coordinator will assist you from here. Be sure to disclose any environmental conditions that might result in unfortunate incidents." "Unfortunate," Mika began, but Plex had already retreated, personal shield still glowing like a force field between fear and curiosity. The door parted, and in waddledness trill, the housing coordinator, a squat, amphibious being with moist, glossy skin and large protruding eyes. She smelled vaguely of pond water and wore a wetsuit that appeared to be actually dripping. "So, you're the Earth student?" she burbled cheerfully, flipping through a floating holographic display with her webbed fingers. "Such an honor. Very brave program. Yes, indeed. Thanks," Mika replied, suppressing the growing anxiety tightening in her chest. Everyone seemed to be speaking of Earth like it was some legendary cursed realm. "I'm excited to be here." Of course, Miss Trill nodded enthusiastically, flinging water droplets everywhere. "You'll be rooming with Zixel. Very adaptable. Top of her class in xenotolerance." Mika followed as they proceeded down a corridor where every door looked different. One glowed with solid light, another was made of living vines, and one looked suspiciously like a miniature controlled black hole suspended in stasis. At last, Miss Trill stopped in front of the only ordinary-looking metal door in sight. "Here we are. Zixel is already inside. Do try to make a good impression, first Earth student and all." The door slid open with a quiet hiss, revealing a split dorm room. One half was configured for human standards, bed, desk, storage. The other half resembled a suspended cocoon, part hammock, part beehive, hanging from the ceiling. It pulsed faintly from within. Something stirred 6 limbs, unfurled. A creature about Mika's size descended gracefully from the nest on a silken thread. Her exoskeleton shimmered like oil on water, refracting the overhead lights into tiny rainbows. Enormous, multifaceted eyes, dragonfly-like, constantly refracting, focused on Mika. "Hi," Mika said, trying to project friendly confidence. "I'm Mika. Guess we're roommates." Zixel froze mid-air. Her limbs went rigid, her eyes dilated. A faint high-pitched whine emanated from her thorax. You're from Earth?" she buzzed, her voice rising in frequency and alarm. "Yeah, Portland, Oregon, United America, specifically." Zixel skittered backward with alarming speed, bumping into the wall of her nest. "Miss Trill," she cried out, her voice shrill. "Miss Trill, there's been a mistake." Miss Trill poked her head back in, blinking. "What's the problem? You didn't say she was from Earth." Zixel's antenna trembled in what Mika could only assume was panic. "I can't room with a Deathworlder." "A what?" Mika blinked. "Oh dear," Miss Trill muttered suddenly, looking flustered. Zixel wasn't done. "My parents were very clear. No exposure to Class 5 environmental hazards. Humans are walking biohazards. They leak bacteria, they have exposed skin, and they consume toxins for fun." Mika glanced down at her hands. Sure, they were freckled from summer hiking, but they didn't seem particularly hazardous. "I'm not dangerous," she protested, but Zixel was already stuffing her belongings into a multi-limbed carrying case. "I'll submit a formal transfer request," Zixel buzzed, darting for the door. "No offense intended to your species, but I'm rather attached to being alive." She was gone. Miss Trill sighed, the sound like water trickling down a drain. "We should have anticipated this reaction," she muttered. "Zixel's species evolved on a perfectly controlled environmental orb. They're sensitive." "Sensitive to what?" Mika asked, stunned. "I got all the vaccines before coming here. I'm not carrying anything." "It's not about diseases," Miss Trill said awkwardly. "It's about what you represent. Earth is well officially classified as a Class 5 death world." Mika blinked. "What?" "Extremely dangerous," Miss Trill explained. "Violent weather, toxic flora, apex predators, harmful radiation, unstable geology. You name it, Earth has it. Most galactic species wouldn't survive more than a few hours." Mika sank onto her bed, dazed. "It's just home," she whispered. Miss Trill gave her a sympathetic look. "Indeed, And that's what makes you rather extraordinary. With a quiet hum, she motioned Ma to follow her to a new private dorm. As they walked through the quiet corridors, Mika didn't say much.
Please like and subscribe if you have liked it.